Hey, what's up everybody? It's Zach with Fire and Ferment. Today, we're going to be making smoked roast beef. There's so many different fun things you can do with a beef roast, and today, we're going with the bottom round. I don't know anybody who doesn't love roast beef, and this recipe is going to make you love it even more when you put that little kiss of smoke on it. When we get that perfect smoke on there, we're going to sear the outside and slice it really thin, and then serve it on sourdough bread slices so we get that perfect combination of fire and fermentation. Let's go for it. Here's our ingredients prepped and ready to go. Like I mentioned, I've got a bottom round roast that I just picked up at my local grocery store. This one's 3.2, 3.3 pounds, something like that. Next up, I've got some Morton's coarse kosher salt that I measured out last night. I did a half a teaspoon per pound, and this has been dry grinding in the refrigerator overnight. Since that salt sat on there in the fridge overnight, all of that salt has sucked into the center of the meat, so we get lots of flavor all the way throughout every slice. This is why dry brining is so important. Dry brining enhances just about every single cut of meat, so please don't discount this step. Next up, I've got a half and half mixture of mustard and pickle juice that we're going to slather on the outside of this roast. Then we're going to use some freshly cracked black pepper to put on the outside, just however much we feel is right. We've also got some granulated garlic that we're going to put on the outside. We also have some dried rosemary leaves that we're going to put on the outside as well. We have our homemade herb infused ghee. Check out that video next. We're going to use that as a cooking medium so that we can sear off the outside of the roast once it's done smoking. Last but not least, our sourdough boule. Check out that video as well. We also have some spinach, some red onion, some Swiss cheese, and some horseradish sauce. We'll start the night before by measuring out Morton's coarse kosher salt, 1/2 teaspoon per pound of meat. Our roast is right at 3 pounds, so we'll do 1.5 teaspoons. We make sure we sprinkle that salt on evenly over the entire roast so it has a chance to absorb evenly into the meat. We got to put that salt on all sides. Then I'll put the roast in the fridge overnight to dry brine. The next day we get our pit fired up. Let's get our lump charcoal in and our flamethrower going. Once the charcoal is ashed over, we'll go at this with post oak wood, and we're going to do this as low and slow as we can in order to put as much smoke flavor on this as possible. Let's get our smoker to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And we want to run a semi-dirty, semi-clean fire. This video is brought to you by our sponsor, Woodchuck Firewood. Woodchuck has all kinds of different wood. They're based out of Valley Center, Kansas, but they ship their wood all over the country. If you're on the lookout for wood splits that you need for your barbecue, fire pit, or fireplace, Woodchuck Firewood is your one-stop shop. Type in the link below into your browser to access their website and place an order. Tell them that Fire and Ferment sent you over and they'll take good care of you. Now that we're back inside, let's go ahead and put our slather and rub on our roast. We'll start by putting on the half and half mustard and pickle juice on all sides and slather this all over. This will act as a binder for our rub. Now we'll put down our freshly cracked black pepper. Again, whatever amount feels right. Like I say, it's your kitchen and you're the boss here. Make sure you get all the sides. We'll go ahead and follow this with another nice even coating of garlic powder. Last but certainly not least, a nice even sprinkling of dried rosemary leaves on the outside. We'll hit all the sides with the garlic powder and the rosemary. So just to recap, we did a dry brine, so all of that salt is sucked into the center of the meat. We've slathered it with a half and half mixture of pickle juice and mustard. We've put a rub on that consists of freshly cracked black pepper, granulated garlic, and rosemary leaves. I think this is about ready to go on the smoker. Let's get this roast on the pit. Our smoker is at 200, and we're going to put this roast right in the sweet spot. We're going to put in our ThermoPro TP970 Temp Spike Plus leave-in thermometer so that we can get this perfectly cooked. Guys, there is no better way to ensure a foolproof, perfect cook than with the ThermoPro TP970 Temp Spike Plus. You just simply cannot screw up your cook if you've got the Temp Spike. It's a Bluetooth enabled leave-in thermometer that's perfect for a cook like this. Whether you're a beginner, you're trying to get to know a new cut of meat, or you're just wanting to make life easier, this Temp Spike leave-in probe is an absolute game changer. It's got a handy app that's Bluetooth enabled and will extend through walls no matter where you're at in the house. You can set temp ranges and alerts or alarms so you won't miss your desired temp or overcook your meat. Click on the link I've shared below in the description to pick up your very own ThermoPro TP970 Temp Spike Plus and type in code FIREFERMENT20 for 20% off your order. We're basically just going to manage this fire and keep it semi-clean, semi-dirty at 200 until the Temp Spike Plus registers at 120 internal. I've got a nice little app that we set our target temperature and it'll alert us when we reach that number. We can go inside and relax, except for periodically adding wood to maintain the offset. You can see we're slowly getting there. Alright guys, it's been about 2 hours and we're at 120 internal. We're going to build up our fire really big and put our grill grates over this. Put in a cast iron skillet and get it rip-roaring hot for the next step. We're going to throw in some of our herb-infused ghee and let it melt. Once the ghee is melted, we take off our roast and remove the TP970. When that ghee starts to smoke, we sear it off in the cast iron on all sides in order to get a nice, dark, flavorful crust on the outside. Now that this is seared, let's layer some foil down, throw a hefty dollop of herb-infused ghee, and throw our roast in and wrap it to rest for 30 minutes. While it's resting, let's start constructing our sandwich. Let's slice into our sourdough and toast it up. Slice up some red onions. Slather some horseradish on both sides. On one side, put down some spinach and some slices of red onions. Let's get our smoked roast beef and slice into it as thin as we possibly can for that perfect deli style sliced meat. Add a healthy layer onto your other slice of bread. Don't forget Swiss cheese like I did. Combine both sides and dig in. That is how we smoke roast beef at fire and ferment. If you like this type of content and you want to see more of it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on that little bell icon so you don't miss any new content. I love you guys, and stick around.